Hi, welcome to Storytime with Jeff. I'm Jeff, and we're going to tell you a story. So that makes it Storytime with Jeff. Real creative title, I know. And like any good story, we'll start this one with the always useful Once Upon a Time. Once upon a time, there was a bazaar that was held in a village in northern India. Everyone brought their wares to trade and sell at this bazaar. One old farmer brought in a whole covey of quail, and he had tied a string around one leg of each bird. The other end of the string was tied to a ring which loosely fit over a central stick. And basically what it did is allowed the quail to move around, but it taught them to walk dolefully in a circle around and around like mules in a sugarcane mill, if you've ever seen those kind of images. Nobody seemed interested in buying the birds until a man came along, and he was a guy who had a great respect for life. He thought there was something horribly wrong with putting these quail in that predicament, and so he wanted to do something about that. His heart was full of compassion to those poor little creatures walking about in their monotonous circles. And he says, I want to buy a bird. And the farmer said, well, how many? He goes, all of them. And so the farmer gave him the price, and the man very joyfully gave him the money. And then with a smile and almost a smirk, he looked at the farmer and he said, now I want you to set them all free. The farmer laughed and said, well, you just bought them, and now you want me to cut them loose? He said, you heard me, sir. I want you to set them free. And so he cut the strings from the legs and he let them loose. And so after he had done that, he stepped back from the quail, and the birds simply continued marching around that center stick in those monotonous circles that they had been walking in for so terribly long. Frustrated, the man who had bought them and who had freed them shooed the birds away. And the quail did indeed take flight, and then they landed a short distance from where they had just been, and as soon as they landed, they continued to walk in monotonous circles, around and around and around. Still frustrated, he went to where they had flown to and tried to shoo them away once again, only to have them scatter, land pretty much close together again, and begin that same endless walking in circles. They were untied, but they were still tied. And the point of the story is simply this. Until you give yourself permission to be the unique person that God has created you to be, and do the unpredictable things that grace frees you to do, you're a lot like those birds. You're going to walk in just an endless circle, repeating the same things over and over and over again. And you know what? You might even change locations from time to time. But even when you take yourself and put yourself in another location, you know what you're going to do? You're going to walk right back in that same circle and keep repeating the same habits over and over and over again. It is Jesus that comes along and cuts the strings. But he doesn't cut the strings so you can just remain where you are and keep doing what you've always done. When Jesus sets us free, we are free indeed. And so don't be like the quail in the story. Be free. Spread your wings and fly, and discover that person that God has created you to be. That's this edition of Storytime with Jeff. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, great. Join me again next time. And if you didn't, that's okay. You can still join me again next time and see if I do better next time. But until then, have a great rest of your day and be free.